Hello everyone, this is Jeannie Ellis, also known as Scrapbooking Mama, and today I'm going to be doing some jewelry with the items that I got from Beebeecraft. Everything will be in the description box below, so you'll have all the links, plus there'll be a code for 10% off your total product. So, let's get started. First off, I want to show you again how many beads there are in this link. I mean, this piece it is beautiful. So needless to say, I'm going to have plenty to work with. Now I've got an idea of what I want to do. I'm wanting to make 3 rows, like a row here and here, and the small one here, which will be these right here, I think. So we'll find out which looks the best. So I'll be right back and I'll get everything ready for us to design. Okay, now what I want to tell you is be careful and do not cut all these strings, because otherwise you'll have beads all over the place. What you do is you'll take one of the strings and you'll pull whichever bead starts to pull. Looks like this one here. So then what you would do is just pull it this way all the way out. So make sure you don't cut all those. And set those over there for now, because I will want another one here soon. Okay, once you pull it off, this end is going to be free. It's not going to have any knots in it. So you need to make sure, that's why you don't want to pull or cut them all off at once. Otherwise you're going to have beads everywhere. And I know you don't want that like me. I don't want it either. So I'm going to pull them off of the string. Like you don't know how to do that, right? Everybody knows to do that, right? And here I'm just saying what you need to do. Okay, I've got them pulled off that string, and I can already tell it's not going to be enough. So I've got my rest of them over here, and they won't be out of my reach to get. And I've got some string in there. Can't get out. And some dust. Oh my goodness. Anyway, I want to take these. This is one strand, and it's got quite a bit in it. And they even fixed it with a purple string, which usually they're white, so that's kind of different. So I'm going to get my scissors. I'll cut this part right here. Move my board. Okay, I didn't cut below the knot, and I need to do it below the knot. And I didn't do it, and I forgot I was working on some paper crafts the other day. Got paper stuck on my scissors. Okay, let's get that pulled back out. Well, for some reason it doesn't want to go into the right place. And I don't know about you, but it happens to me every time I'm on camera. Something is off that I usually don't have to worry about when I'm off camera. Okay, let's try this again. It keeps sliding on me. Now what I'm going to do is finish taking this off the strand. And I'm going to get me some other pieces, findings and things like that, to go on this jewelry too. So I want to make sure that I have everything that I need for it. And even when you think you have everything, that's not always true. Anyway, I'll be right back. Okay, now I've got me some findings. I've got some crimp covers, crimp beads, and wire guardians. And I'm going to go ahead and get one, oh yeah, and flexible wire. I use this Econo Soft Flex is what I use. So I'm just going to be pulling off, oh, let's see. Never know really how much I'm going to use. And I don't want to cheat myself on it either. So I try to give myself plenty of wire, and I don't know why I cut with those. Shouldn't have done that, not with scissors. Anyway, to get started, I want to go ahead and use, get my one end of my wire guardian and everything together first. That way, and it's so little that I have a hard time. But anyway, you want to go ahead and get that onto your wire. And then, I think I got my crimp cover's way too big. So I'm going to have to fix that. So the next thing you want to do, you don't do anything to that crimp bead yet. You go ahead and put on your wire guardian. I want to make sure it's not gold. It kind of looks gold to me there. But no, it's not. Sometimes it looks different. So then you want to string your wire through one side of the guardian over into the other side of the guardian. So there's holes on both sides that you loop your wire over. Again, there we go. And if you're like me, you tend to pull it out sometimes, so it's no big deal. You just do it again. Okay, now I want to go ahead and put the short end of the wire into the to the crimp bead. It's just a real tiny bead with a hole in it. Now you can get bigger crimp beads, but I like to use the smaller ones. Now I'm going to be right back for just a second, because I do think that these crimp covers are going to be way too big. We'll find out. Okay, I've got two small crimp covers, and if they're not going to work, then I'll have to go into the other. So I always try to make sure that the wire in the bead are not crossed over. Okay, I want to show you how to do this in a close-up. First, get your wire and your crimp bead. Put your crimp bead onto your wire, and you can see how little it is there. And you're only doing one wire at a time. Then put your wire guardian on, and you can see the little tubes on either side of that wire guardian. You want to put the wire through one side first, and then bring it around to the other side, to the other tube, and put it through that one. A little struggle there. Okay, I always have struggle with little things. Anyway, you want to put it through that wire guardian. Make sure to keep your wires separate. You don't want to cross the wires over or anything like that. You don't want to do that, so make sure that they are separated. So they are separated right now. I guess I can't see very well, apparently. Anyway, pull it through, and then you want to pull it to where it will almost flush against your wire guardian, the bead to the wire guardian. And now if I tell you any other time to pull the short wire and hold on to the guardian, it works. But for some reason I couldn't get it to work, but I usually pull on the short wire. Okay, now you want to crimp it. Get your crimp tool, and you want to put that bead into the second slot. It's the way I do it. And give it a gentle squeeze, because you don't want to break it. You're just giving it a gentle squeeze. And then when you squeeze it like that, you're going to have those two wires on a little section of their own on the crimp bead. See the two little spaces there. So now you want to take that crimp bead and put it into the first slot of your crimp tool. And make sure you get the two separated wires. Squish it together gently, so that way you can get your crimp cover on. And now it's on nice and snug. If you need to fix it a little bit more, go ahead. Now, I usually have trouble trying to hold on to that crimp cover. There are different sizes of it. I'm going to try to get me some bigger ones here soon. And just take that cover, put your bead inside of it, and again, because my hands are so stiff, I have to be careful how I hold on to it and everything. But anyway, take your crimp tool and put that into the first slot again, and give it a squeeze, and then that way your cover's on. I usually put it into the slot first, and then I use the end of the tool to kind of shape it up if I need to. And it looks like it came out pretty good. I'm giving another squeeze there. And there you have it. It's a nice little shape. You can use that tool to shape it up a little bit if you need to. So, there it is. I hope this helps. Okay, now that I've got that covered, I can start doing my beading. Before I do that, though, I'm going to put that wire piece aside. Don't lose it. And I'm going to start, let's see, I think I want to do the small one up here. Okay, we're going to try that first, because sometimes I want to do it that way, but then you think about it and it's like, oh, that doesn't look right. But in my brain, I have it that way, so we'll see what happens. So I'm going to use these crystal beads that I had in stock. And these came on that same type of stringing, and I forgot to take that off. So don't do what I do. Do what I said regarding those, okay? It's easy just to pull the string out. That way everything else is still together. So now I'm doing it. I'm just pulling it out this way because of the fact I did it wrong. I'm going to put these with these little beads, I believe, and see how they do. Okay, I'm going to start out in the middle here. And the middle starts at 0. I'm not putting anything fancy in between. I mean, down at the bottom, it's just going to be a little bead decoration. So I think I'll put like a couple of them together. And then another of these crystal beads. And they're different sizes, so, and variation of color too. Okay, now I'm going to finish doing this, and when I get to the end of where I want to go, I'll show it to you. I'll be back. Okay, now I've got the second row of necklace here ready, or getting it ready anyway. And I forgot to record it when I started. I have 3 beads with end caps on them, and they're silver, because this is going to be silver and purple or lavender colors into it. But I did 3 for the centerpiece, as we can call it, and I centered this part here with the 0 here. So now I'm going to continue on, and I try to keep them as even as possible. Okay, now I may have to shorten up the wire, or the length of these when I get finished, but I like to do that after I get on here what I want done, because I don't want to string it until I know for sure if that's the way I want it. So I'm going to finish these and I'll be right back. I'm getting the feeling that I might be making this too long, but I'm still going to work at it. I'm not going to change anything until I know for sure. Okay, we're going to start on the next row now, the third and last row. I know I'm going to need more beads. Okay, now what I'm going to do next, if I can remember where I put it. For the third row, I'm going to use this, and now I forget what they're called, but like I said, everything's going to be in the link below. It's a connector, and you can tell because it's got this end and this end, you know, to be able to put jump rings on. So anyway, it's going to be my, I guess you can call it my centerpiece. Yeah, I guess that's what it would be, right? Anyway, I was looking all over for it, and it was right there, almost under my nose. So anyway, let's see. I'm thinking about just putting the purple pearls on first. I'm going to see what it looks like if I just put the beads on without anything in between, just to see what it looks like. Again, I may have to shorten these other two rows, but we'll see. We'll see. I just had it in my head that making the third one just plain, except for the connector, I thought maybe that would look pretty cool. But I could be wrong. And my goodness, that's easier to do. Didn't take me nearly as long. Okay. Let's go on with this here, and I'll be right back. Okay, to get this started beading, and I'm going to take the one end of my wire that doesn't have the wire guarding on it, because it'll act like a stopper, and I won't have to worry about it. So I'm going to start off with the bigger beads first, because I want to see how long it's going to be. If it's going to be too long, now I can't open it. If it's going to be too long, then that means I need to shorten all three of them. Okay, as you can see, I went and used a grip bead on the end here, just like I did on the other end, except on the other end I had a wire guardian, because I was trying to figure out how to attach these. I'm not using elastic, so I won't be doing that kind of a technique, which would be tying it, from what I've seen so far. But I've looked all over YouTube to see if I can figure out how to do it. So I thought, well, I'll just do it this way. So all I did was add a crimp bead to it and then a crimp cover, and did it just like I did with the wire guardian. Just didn't put the wire guardian in. So which means now this piece here is going to have to be taken off, because I can't obviously string the wire through with this on the end of it. Okay, now let's hope this isn't going to be too long, which I'm kind of afraid is going to be pretty long. So I'm going to go ahead and strand the one end, and this is going to act as a stopper, since I've got that on there. And when I get down to the bottom, I'm going to have this extra wire. The short wire there will be mostly cut off probably, but I don't know yet since I've not done it this way. So I'm just going to take, there's a hole. Boy, these are little holes. And I was going to use my pen on it, my needle on it, that is. But with it being wire, it's not going to be too bad. Obviously, I've got to get both the wires to begin with in that hole. And if I can't pull it through, then I'll just take one of these pliers and just adjust it. Okay, with me giving the double strand and the short end, or the short end and the long end together, that might give it more stability. So hopefully that's what it's going to do. I'm knocking these other beads around. So anyway, we're going to try it, and I'm going to continue beading these until I'm at the end. So that means I'm going to be stranding this one side to the connector, and then I'll start on that side. I'll be right back. Okay, so now I'm at the other end, which will be the end where it clasps together as a necklace. So this is the very end, and then they will be connected onto the piece I showed you earlier. So I am going to go ahead and put a wire guardian and everything in it, and I'm messing up my next row. I gotta be careful. Okay, anyway, I'm going to get my wire guardian in. Oh, no. Almost steered you wrong there. Get my crimp bead first. Okay, now I've got the crimp cover on, and you can see I'm making quite a mess here, so I'm hoping I remember how I did that. So anyway, I'm going to take another piece of wire and do the same thing on the other side. That way it'll tie them together, and I'll be able to put a link clasp on the other, on both ends then, because they'll be connected then. So let's see, I'm going to get me a crimp bead. And I'm going to slide this short end in to the crimp bead. I'm sorry. No, I'm not going to do that. It'll fall right off. Okay, I'm going to slide it in here, just like I did on the other side. Slide it in here, and then I'm going to slide it into the crimp bead, which I let go of. Okay, got it back. Just like before, I'm going to string them through a few beads. Probably do 3 or 4. And then I'll be right back. Okay, now I've got them all strung up, and I'm going to put the crimp bead on first. If I can get hold of it. There it is. Then I'm going to get my wire guardian, put it through one end and then around the other end. Okay, So tomorrow I'll be working on getting the chain on the ends of these to make it the right length that I want, and that way I can adjust with the others. So I will put those on, and I probably will go ahead and strand these without recording them or do it in fast motion. I'm not sure which yet, but you know, if I do show it, it will be in fast forward or motion, I mean. So anyway, that way it won't take up a lot of time. So I will see you later. You won't know it. Time will fly. I'll be right there before you know it. I'm back, and I've got each of the beads strung together, and it took me a couple of days because I was having some technical issues with the system that I'm using right now. Anyway, I've got each of the beads strung together, or strung, and I'm going to be measuring the chain to see how much I want to use of that to add to the ends. Now, I was going to use this piece right here where I could connect all three strands, but unfortunately it wouldn't work. The beads were too heavy, so it just kind of would pull apart every time I tried to connect them. So, which is okay, because that means the beads are good quality, and I love them. I mean, I can make them separate, or I can connect them in a different way. So, I'm going to go ahead and do a connector on each of these with the chain, and you can wear them individually or you can wear them together. And these are the clasps that I will be using. I'm going to be putting them on the ends of the chain, of course, and connect the two ends of the chains together, because I'm going to have to put them on each side of the necklace beads. And I'm thinking maybe 3 inches for each one. The first two, the first hop ones, but the last one I'm going to add maybe a 4-inch. As it ended, I went ahead and added 3.5 on the very last bead, the longer one. So I'm getting my clasp out, and I'm going to have to get me some jump rings and add to them. And now 2 of these are just like the 2 bigger ones. The smaller one's a little bit different on the clasp, but that's okay. But I thought silver and lavender would go really, really pretty together. So there, I'm just pointing out where I'm going to go ahead and measure the chains. And again, I'm thinking 3 inches should do it. It came out really the best size when I did 3 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and get those measured out, and I'll be right back. Okay, I've cut my chains 3 inches. I'm going to add the clasp to the chain, and I've got the one side already attached to the end of the small beaded necklace. But all I've got to do now is add a jump ring to the end of the beads. And one thing I want to make sure is that when you open up a jump ring, you're going to open it up at where the little split section is, back and forth, rather than side to side. If you open it side to side, it's going to distort the jump ring, and it won't look right. So just slip that into the end of the chain there, and then I'm going to grab the clasp as soon as my hands let me. I had to do it voiceover on this because of the technical issues. So anyway, I'm going to slip it on to the loop that's on the end of the clasp ring. Or the clasp. I don't know why I say clasp ring. But anyway, there again is back and forth. I'm just put it together, and I'll tighten it up a little bit. I do not like to push too hard, because otherwise I could break the jump ring or distort it anyway. So be gentle with a little pressure. I know that doesn't quite make sense, but I think most women know what I mean. So now I'm going to add the other end of it, and I'm doing exactly the same thing So I'm going to put fast forward this, do it in fast motion. Okay, I am all done. Check out the description box below. Bye for now. Have a great day.